Okay. Good morning, children. So we are continuing the chapter Lifelines of National Economy. We have talked about the roadways, then railways. Now the next we will talk about that what are the challenges in railway network in India. Okay, so when we say that railway network is so broad and so developed in our country, and it serves the country in two ways, as freight trains and second the passenger trains, and we are having the figures also that how much the rail transport is helpful for the passenger trains. Okay, now we are talking about that what are the challenges in front of railway tracks in India. So they are basically divided: one, physiographic challenge. Okay, second challenge, economical, or you can say political or administrative. Okay, administrative challenges. Third challenge is economic, administrative, physiographic. Okay, economical, political and administrative, we are giving them in one category, as it depends, you know very well that if we talking about the economical challenge, so we know that railway tracks will be constructed by the help of government of India or the state government. Okay, and individual cannot be having so much of money. It can be the joint venture also, but here that's why I have given the second category. The physiographic challenges, as can anybody tell me what do you understand by physiographic challenge? Then again the relief feature. Okay, the high altitude or the plain area, even in the sandy soil we cannot imagine to lay down the railway network in Rajasthan. Okay, we cannot hoping that we can construct the railway network. So physiographic means the relief feature we are talking about. Relief features. Okay, it means texture of the soil or the land quality. Okay, we can hoping the railway network, good railway network in the northern plains. Okay, because the land is plain there, no sandy soil. And the second thing is that why we develop them in northern area, northern plains. Why we are having a fantastic railway network in northern plains area, as these plains are the area which included the states which are very fertile land, and they produce maximum amount or the number of crops, and you know these crops are the raw materials for the manufacturing sector. That's why for the economical development we developed so much of good quality railway network which connect the northern plains area, as it is economically also very beneficial. Okay, how the manufacturing industry will run? How the manufacturing industry will run? On which sector they depend totally? Primary sector, it means agriculture sector. And when we say agriculture sector, then we always take the name northern area. Okay, that's why. And then if this northern area having the possibility, so much possibility to produce raw material, it means agricultural raw material to the industrial sector. So after using these you can say raw materials in the secondary sector or the manufacturing sector, what we need? Which sector we need after producing the goods? Which sector? Just tertiary. After the final stage is tertiary sector. So railway network is providing the tertiary sector as a means of transportation. That's why a huge railway network is developed in this northern area. So in this way, the physiographic condition or the, you can say, climate or the texture of soil is directly responsible for the construction of railway network. This is the one challenge. Second is economical challenge or political administrative, that how much the government of the India or the state government is having the funding to lay down huge cost to give the huge cost to the labor. So many things are required. Okay, so it also economical challenge is there, political challenge is there, and secondly another is administrative. Administrative comes under the political challenge. Okay, how the administration works. Administration will works that how much capability the government is having. Nowadays you can see that if we will not take the precaution to secure ourselves in this academic, you know that what is the condition in the hospitals, especially in the government hospitals. Okay, so here that one has to take an initiative to secure his or her life by his own or her own awareness and the practice, hygiene practice. It is the challenges. Okay, basically these three challenges in front of the railway network of India. Next we will talk about that the same thing is mentioned in your book also, that we cannot hoping that likewise it difficult to lay down railway lines on the sandy plain of western Rajasthan because the soil is marshy, it means swamps of Gujarat, forested tracts of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Orissa and Jharkhand. That these are the places where dense forest is to be found. And you can imagine if we are saying if there is Chhattisgarh and the Jharkhand, the dense forested area where there is even the land is not visible. They are thick and the dense forested area where there is also a great challenge that how the railway network can be constructed. Okay, so these are the challenges. Now today the railway have become more important in our national economy than all other means of transportation put together. If we see the records and the development, how the railway network is helpful to support economy of the nation, then we find that a railway network playing most important role if we compare it with the other means of transportation. Railway network, because a huge and in a volume goods and services can be transported within short period of time to the particular area or state. Now, however, rail transport suffers from the certain problems as well. Now we are talking about it's the problems which is basically not a big problem, major problem, but still anyhow we suffer. The railway department suffer from these small challenges. First is that many passengers travel without tickets. It is also one challenge. It seems very small challenge, but it is a great harm to the railway department. So this is the challenge. And the second is thefts and damaging of railway property. Many, you know, there are so many antisocial elements which disturb, which you can say, which give harm to the national property. National property, you have to try to understand that okay, you are here. So this is, although it is school property, but you know that this property is giving you so much of comfort. It is all about for you. So as a citizen, this is your liability to look after the things which is used by you. At least you have to think about yourself that if you will damage these property, then who will be in harm? You, because then you will not having the good place to sit down. So in the same manner that in the railway department also, the people who travel without tickets is itself a great harm to the railway department. Second, many times the thefts and the antisocial element who damage the railway property, that is also another harm for the Department of India. Yeah, Railway Department of India. And the third and the last, that the people, mischievous people who without any genuine cause just pulled out the chain to stop the train. So this is wrong, because it takes so much of energy and so much of time that when the train stops and when it has to get start again. It is not so easy that you will just push the button and the train will start automatically. No. Okay, so these are the minor challenges which is faced by the Railway Department of India. So it should be stopped. And here only we people who are responsible for these challenges. Okay, we people are not responsible to change the relief feature of India. That's okay. But we people are responsible at least these minor challenges which can be controlled or that we have to not only control but we have to try to eradicate all these challenges. Okay, now it is all about the railway department. Now the other means of transportation, and it is a new means of transportation which you are going to study in your 10th standard, and it is called pipelines. It is very important because it is new. Okay, so pipelines. Please make a little bit of keynotes for that because you will forget. Okay, in a rough notebook, wherever you are having the place, even your fair notebook. If you have started the chapter, even you can make it with the help of pen or pencil so that you will remember some key points. Okay. Now, pipelines transport network is a new arrival in the transportation map of India. First of all, it is the new means of transportation in India. First thing. Okay. And how it has used, what thing is to be used to transport with the help of these pipelines, that these pipelines, in the past, these pipelines used to transport, in the past, it is used to transport water to the cities and to the industries. Earlier, with the help of these pipelines, earlier the water is to be transported to the cities or the industry. Okay, in the past. Gradually, what new development has had, and now these are used for transporting crude oil, petroleum products. Now is used to transport crude oil. I will tell you what is all about crude oil. Okay, crude oil, petroleum products, crude oil, petroleum products, and natural gas. Natural gas from oil and natural gas fields. Natural gas from oil and natural gas from oil, natural gas from oil to the natural gas from oil and to the refineries, oil refineries, fertilizers, factories, and thermal power plant. This is a new arrival, that now with the help of these pipelines, crude oil, petroleum products or natural gases, and these all are transported to the refineries, and then after refineries, after the purification, okay, these crude oil or the petroleum product is to be reached to the fertilizers industry or the thermal power plant. So what is crude oil? Write down little definition. That crude oil is all about, it is the base of lots of products as transportation diesel, as gasoline, diesel and jet fuel. So crude oil is type of oil which used as a base, okay, as a base products for transporting fuel as gasoline, in the form of gasoline, in the form of diesel and in the form of jet fuel. These crude oil is to be used, okay. It is used, it is the base of all petroleum products which is used in the flying of jet, as a jet fuel, used as a gasoline, as a diesel to run the vehicles. So this crude oil is to be transported nowadays at present time in India to transport to the in the form of petroleum products, natural gas from the oil, to the refineries sectors where these crude oil is to be refined. You know that whatever oil we get from the mustard crops, we do not supposed to use this oil as we extracted from the flowers of the mustard fields. After so many processes, ultimately purification, then some sort of chemical also mixed with it add, and then finally in the tertiary sector, in the packaging, we are having the brand name of different edible oils. Either they are refined oil, either they are mustard oil, okay. So they are having the different stages as a refinery process. So this is a crude oil which is used to be transported with the help of pipelines to the various states. Now I will tell you which are the states where the network of pipelines is to be spread out throughout the India. Now that thing you have to write down in points, because I have already written so much on the blackboard. Now write down. First listen. Solids, the one important thing, that even not only all the liquid but solids also can be transported with the help of pipeline. Not the solid I am talking about, the just like it. No, solid is semi-liquid. Just like have you seen the ghee? है ना? The texture of ghee is totally different from the edible oil, mustard oil. Ghee is thick in its nature, although it is also liquid, but it is semi-liquid. So semi-liquid solids also can be transported with the help of pipelines to the various state, and this semi-liquid is used as a means of energy resource in the various factory or the power plant, thermal power plants. Okay, write down semi-liquids, where you have noted down. very good, नोट करने की हैबिट होनी चाहिए, कोई छोटा नहीं होता नोट करके, स्कूल आ रहा है। Semi-liquids solids also transported through through pipelines, when converted into slurry. Slurry means in semi-liquid slurry. Now we will talk about what are the areas where the pipelines network is already developed by the government of India. Now write down. Pipeline network in India. Pipeline network in India. It is from, I am giving you the state name. Okay, if I will read it, that from oil field in Upper Assam to Kanpur. You know that Kanpur is in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, then it helped with the help of Guwahati and then Barauni and Allahabad. We know that Barauni in Bihar. I am noting down the state, that which are the state, these are the district and the city name, okay, and by which route they are connected. So I am writing down the route plus the state in a short, so that you will remember there on the outline political map where they are just spread out. Okay, now write down. It is from Uttar Pradesh. Please don't write down UP. Write down full name of your state. Uttar Pradesh is from Uttar Pradesh to Bihar, and Allahabad. Second, Bihar to West Bengal. Haldia, it is a city in West Bengal. Bihar to West Bengal. Third, now write down then Gujarat to Punjab. And the fourth is Gujarat to Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. Now you can realize that how the network of pipeline has been spread out through the various states, and it is from Uttar Pradesh to Bihar, then Bihar to Allahabad, then Bihar to West Bengal. West Bengal, Siliguri is a city where the gas pipelines network is laid out, and then Gujarat to Punjab, north area also, and then Gujarat to Uttar Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh also. In this manner, even if you turn the page, then you can see what a web-like structure on the Indian outline political map regarding the gas pipeline. Yes or no? You can see how the gas pipeline had covered whole India, and it is used the best way of energy resource nowadays. Okay. Now waterways. Now we will discuss about the waterways, the second last means of transportation, and it is waterways. Can anybody remind me that for the trade purpose, in which chapter in history we have talked about waterways, and we had described a very significant route also in history, which was helpful to transport goods and services, to transport culture and language to the distinct part of the world. In history, which chapter? You remember, because I hope that I am 100% sure that you are doing homework, but very few students are watching the video. First thing is that. I know that. How much regular you all are. Because regular students, I know. Yes. Can anybody remind me? In history also, we have talked about the waterways. And we have mentioned one route also. Even you are having the question on that in history. What was the name of the routes in your history? Which is used to cover the sea route to transport goods and services to the distinct part of the world. In which chapter of class 10th in history? What were the name of the routes? Anybody have remembered? Silk routes. Okay. When we talk about the waterways, we are talking about transportation and the significance of the waterways to support the national economy of India. Water. Since the time immemorial, India was one of the seafaring countries. Its seamen sailed far near, thus carrying and spreading Indian commerce and culture. Waterways are the cheapest means of transport. One feature. The cheapest means of transport since long time. If we compare the waterways with the other means of transportation, waterways are the cheapest means of transportation and it is so ancient. They are so old means of transportation, not only India but throughout the world. And I have given so much of lecture, especially in history, every single page, and this is the feedback of the students. That day, how could you forget the Silk Route? How important this word is when we study the waterway. Because it is all about that it is related to your history section. This waterway is related to your history section. This way has been used by the sailor, by the trade person, trade people, when they supposed to use the routes, sea routes to flourish their trade. And not only this, that after so much of movement of the people, they were not only exchanging the ideas and the trade and commerce. What was happened? What type of exchange was there? Goods and services, language, culture, and one more thing. They exchanged with each other. What was that? Oh, nobody is studying. Germs and diseases, epidemic. What a wonderful feedback. Feedback that you are not watching the video. You are not reading the NCERT. Okay, don't watch the video, but at least read the NCERT book. And you hope that you will get good marks. Without studying. Very good. Fantastic. Now, yes, it is the ancient means of and it is the cheapest. Waterways are the cheapest means of transport. They are most suitable for carrying heavy and bulky goods. Next feature, most suitable means to transport heavy and bulky goods. Because we know the capacity of a ship or a cargo is more than a truck or the various coaches of the train. Agree? That's why they are used as a means of international transportation. We are having so much developed ports in India. Mumbai port is the busiest port for the trade and commerce in India. Why? Because the huge and the large volume of goods and services exported and imported with the help of these ports. So we cannot ignore the importance and significance of the waterways from the starting of the, you can say, 19th or 18th or the 17th century. And even today, they are as it is. That's why the government of India, time to time, have taken the initiative to develop these ports which are related to the different coastline of India. Okay, that's why. Because they are the suitable means of transportation to to transport heavy and bulky goods at the cheapest cost. Okay. Another feature of the waterways is the waterways. Now you can read it by your own. It is a fuel efficient and environment friendly waterways that Another eco-friendly feature that waterways are fuel friendly. Fuel friendly. They are fuel efficient. Sorry, fuel efficient and eco-friendly. Fuel efficient. Fuel efficient and eco-friendly. Eco-friendly. This is another importance of the waterways, that waterways are fuel efficient and eco-friendly. Okay, they didn't harm the environment. Okay, because the tidal ship use the tides of the sea waves as a means of energy resource. Although they have to balance this speed of the cargo or the big ship, as the tide waves also influence the speed of the ship, but at least they used the tides, the waves of the sea as a means of energy. So much of technically they advanced, which they used as a means of transportation. These are the basic features that why we support or why, what are the characteristics of the waterways. Basically these are the characteristics. Now you have to write down what are the following waterways have been declared as the national waterways by the government. Write down one by one. These are the national waterways of India. Okay, the first is the Ganga river between Allahabad and Haldia. The Ganga river, and it is between Allahabad and Haldia, known as national waterways. National waterways number 1. Okay, NA means national and NW means national waterways number 1. Second, the waterways, the Brahmaputra river between Sadia and the Dhubri. Sadia, it is a city in Assam, and Dhubri is also another city in Assam, and it is about 891 km length is also mentioned in book, and it is known as the national waterways number 2. Second national waterways is the Brahmaputra river. They are giving the name of river, that it can be asked that on which river the national waterways number 2 is, you can say, built. Okay, then you will write down the Brahmaputra river. So that's why these are also important. It is not that just you will sit here idly and you will not note down anything. You don't watch any video. You will not read seriously your NCERT book, and you are hoping that everything will be done. And then you will ask that, ma'am, these lines are correct. Why haven't you given the marks? Huh? No feedback is coming from you. Just see the other student of the same class. It shows that they are studying at home. Here just peeping out to each other. No serious. Nothing. At least important thing though you shouldn't forget. Second is the Brahmaputra river. Second national waterways is to be built on Brahmaputra river, and it is known as the national waterways number 2. So in this way you have to remember these name of the river, then the cities which are connected with the help of these waterways. Everything you are having in your NCERT. You have to underline and learn the things. Next is the specified stretches of Godavari and Krishna river along with the Kakinada Puducherry stretches of canals, and it is called national waterways number 4. Specified stretches of river Brahmani along with the Matai river delta channels of Mahanadi and Brahmani rivers and East Coast Canal, and its length is 588 km and it is known as the National Waterways number 5. So how many waterways? 5. National Waterways 1, National Waterways 2, National Waterways 3, 4 and 5. And you have to remember the different rivers on which they built, the cities of which state they are connected, and what is the length of each and every national waterways. Anything can be asked as a fill-up, as a short answer, as a true false, as a short answer. Okay, or 3 marks. So you have to make pin points, notes. Okay, yourself. Everything is written already in the book. Only you have to just select the important thing, because it is difficult to write down the entire book in your notebook, but at least when you are reading, when you are listening, write down by your own some significant point. Don't wait the teacher, okay, that when I will say, only then you will start to write down. If you are finding something important, then write down in your notebook also. Doesn't matter, it should be clean and neat handwriting. You can write down in your fair notebook also. Okay, whenever you are thinking that I will also write this portion in my fair notebook where I supposed to write down the question answer, I will check it. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we will continue the topic in next lecture. Till then, take care. Goodbye.